coach in terms of the locker room. You guys are going to address that as team leaders,
Yep.
but is it also the coaching staff to, if that's an issue, to address that as well?
Well, when we're in the locker room, in certain areas, there's no coaches. In certain things that were said and addressed and handled like men. I'm proud of the way we handled it, honestly. And what you saw from me was just frustration from some of the things that had to be addressed. Didn't think they had to be addressed, but we did. And so I'm going to do my best today during this. I know everyone wants to ask about that because I was very upset, obviously. But I'm going to do my best to just move on to the next game. But to answer those questions, it was addressed, but no coaches were around where we were when that happened.
Derek, just one more on that. It leaves things open for interpretation. People are
Of course.
And so, the buy-in for the coach. Do you feel like the buy-in for the coach is there? And is there like anything in particular that you're upset about where maybe guys aren't out there playing right now that should be out there playing right now?
No. When it comes to injuries, I've been through injuries, and there's some that you can play through and there's some that you can't do anything about. I was not talking about anybody like that, for sure. And for our coach, we love Josh. Like, me and Tay we have meetings with him all the time, and we had another great one today, and fully believe in the plan. And because he shows us, like my point is, what being mad at the coaches is that going to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, is that really what we want to do for another 20 years? You know what I mean? Like, keep doing a cycle like that. Like, they know what they're doing. They've had success. Like, as players, we're fully bought in because we're like, man, we believe in it, and we just all want to be a part of it. You know what I mean? And so, to answer that part of it, like, my feeling, like, we love Josh. We love everything that he brings, everything the staff has brought, and really, we just are focused on playing better. Everybody, every man in there, we all took turns in the game. You watch the film, you're like, oh, I could have done that. Like, even if it wasn't, it's probably stuff that people don't even notice, but you're like, man, if I do that more consistently, it'll lead to some wins, for the team. And everyone took that mindset. And so the proof is when he shows it to us and you're like, Coach, you're right. We got to do that better. And so I think we're closer than, you don't want to ever use certain words, but anytime that we've had a new coach and you got to start over and do certain things, we're a lot closer to being where we want to be than what it feels like right now.
Do the competitive nature of these games lead you to that conclusion? I mean, it's not like aside from the Saints game.
Yeah. I mean, those games are going to happen,
Right.
But yeah, I mean, we're right there. We're in them. Last year, think about how many close games there were.
Right.
We pulled them out. Yeah, we won them, whatever. But there were still things that needed to be addressed. There were still things where we could be better. And if one or two plays in those games goes the other way, it's a total different feeling. You know what I'm saying? And so sometimes we just got to take a breath and just play, and, just there's so much pressure on the expectation and all that kind of stuff sometimes for some people that, my job is I've just been trying to help guys be more free this week. Just be free to be you and play football, And I think that when we're freer, we play better, and hopefully we can do that this week, honestly.
Having said all that, Derek, last year you guys were 10-7 in the playoffs, right?
Yep.
Now you're 2-7. Season's not over, still 8 games to go.
Right.
But you were a playoff team right now. You're 2-7 now.
It's hard.
And in question, what's happened?
It's hard. You got to think about schematically, the schemes are different, right? So you're taking different players, putting them in different schemes. We had to get new players for certain schemes and things like that. So, like, as much as we want to compare, there's a lot of carryover because these coaches thought we could fit their schemes, right? From leaders and things like that, and we'd play well for them, and they, we're doing those things better, right? But some of the key role players and things like that is different, and so this is just a different team. We have the same attitude, like we have the same mindset. We're just trying to make it all come together right now. And sometimes it takes more time than you want to. Definitely takes more time than anyone on the outside wants it to, because it's NFL. It's like, what can you do for me right now? But I think what our owner said is best. Like, it's not built in just one day. You know what I mean? Like, it really isn't. And what his belief is and what Josh's and Dave's belief is there's no denying their success, right? There's no denying what they've been able to do. He's not in here, beating us over the head every day or anything like that. He's super positive. He's encouraging, but he corrects us, and he's disciplined, and all the things that you would love in a coach. And so we feel good about it going forward, but I think it's just two different teams, if that makes sense.
Is it surprising to you then? That because you were a playoff team and then there was the change and then it's taken a while to to go?
You know, for me, like I've done it. I'm not saying this in a funny way. Like I've done it so many times that it's different every time. You know, there's carryover, and sometimes coach like, oh yeah, that worked, or hey, we'll see next year. You know, different species, all that kind of stuff, and all that. But for the time being, right now, like our expectation was so high because of what we went through. Because we're human, right? We experienced that. They've experienced so much more success than just that, right? And so our expectation will never change. And so as a human, yeah, there's frustration. Yeah, there's that. But there's no we don't have belief that we can do it or we can get it right, things like that.
So as Josh this morning, 0-6 one-score games, but when you get frustrated at that, is there also an ability to be optimistic because you were too close that can flip it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really been a good message for our team, especially for some of the guys that haven't been through some of this kind of stuff. They haven't changed schemes much, or maybe they're new players, younger players. That guys, we're right there. Doesn't matter, doesn't count for anything. But what it does show us is it's not like we're some terrible football team that has no chance. Every time we go out there, every time we've been out there, and then except for the Saints game, we all felt like, oh man, we have a chance. We had a chance to win. We have a chance, and we're putting ourselves in position. And so we're all buying in not only to schemes but philosophies on how to play the game, right? And everyone is learning that. And I think that we want it to happen right now, and we are working on making it happen right now. It just hasn't happened as fast as we want it to, but in our mind, there's no doubt that if we keep working that we could do that.
I think last week we talked to you a day before kind of a big news day with you guys adding both Darren and Hunter to injured reserves. I mean, just what was the emotion there? How disappointing was that? Two guys that were going to be a big part of the offense. Now you're trying to turn it around being without them.
Yeah, that's hard, but I said last year all the time. I said nobody cares, you still got to go out there and win football games, and so we count on those guys to have big roles for us and things like that. But the fact they're not there, it's hard. As quarterback, making decisions and all that kind of stuff, and for game planners, putting plans together and all that. But at some point, it'd be nice to see what it would look like.
So you've been through a lot of different head coaching regimes, a bunch of different play callers. After having last season, having that success, was it a process for you to kind of buy into that, having to go through another change yet again, even though you kind of felt like you had a breakthrough last season?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even in my career, even with Jack, when Jack was here, we went to the playoffs. We're one of the best teams in football. Obviously, I broke my leg, but we felt like we were rolling. And then next year isn't as good, then he's gone. You're like, golly, like that, And then obviously we got better with Grew, and then Rich steps in, and we go to the playoffs, and you're feeling good about it. And then we changed it again, and that as a human being, that's hard, as someone who I think y'all felt like just really my passion, my love for this place. I try just try to be like all the time, but I love this place so much that I want it to just go well all the time. And when that keeps happening as a human, it's frustrating, it's hard. But what are you going to do? I'm not going to quit, I'm not going to give up. You know me, we've talked, but I'm not going to give up on anything. We still have work to do. But the cool thing is I could see what it could look like. I've seen what it can look like, and when Josh corrects us and shows us, if we do it, you're like, oh yeah, man, that's awesome. It's new. Boom, you're getting better. You're working on it. And if we're all doing that, which I believe we all are now, as we do that, we'll be a better football team. So that's what gives me hope. That's what gives me the fight. No, we're going to be just fine.
And with all the whispers and the rumors and everything about Josh's job security, but then Mark Davis coming out this week and giving him that vote of confidence, does that let you guys just kind of exhale and say, look, let's just play football?
You know what, Paul? It really did. Just being here, for 9 years, and everything that we've all seen and been through, and some tragedies and all the stuff, right? I'm so happy to hear that Mr. Davis feels that way. I'm so happy that he loves Josh, he loves Dave, he believes him, and it kind of just gave us a breath. Yes, let's just get better. Let's work on being a better football team. Let's go try and win all these games. Let's go try and do all that, of course, but let's just be a better football team. And it kind of just let us know that the process, trust that process. Well, there is a process, and we do have time, during the season right now that we know, who our leader is, and we know that we're rolling, and that gives us confidence as a football team. So it absolutely, when he came out and did that, thank goodness, that kind of thing.
All right. Thanks,
Can I
Dad.
ask
One final question, Mark.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
this is no one else has interest in this. With the changes in Twitter, as a professional athlete, are you thinking about how differently you might put yourself out there on that platform?
the changes,
On Twitter.
like
Potential changes.
were there changes that happened?
Well,
I have not been on there so long. I don't know.
okay, so I guess you're not the right one to ask.
Yeah. I'm probably I go on there maybe for some news, but yeah, I probably don't understand as well as somebody else.
Okay.
Yeah. No worries. Yeah. Thanks. Yep. Thank y'all.
That was an EP inspired.
Davante after the game said, he felt like all the ball. That's been a few meetings, practices, and you guys been around the building. What sort of response have you seen? Locker room collective.
I mean, it's kind of the same as before. I mean, in a good way. I feel like we had a good week of practice last week. Good approach to it after another tough loss. So I think guys' minds and head is in the right place, and I mean, as it should. And you don't want this type of stuff to take too big of a toll on you. And it's not definitely gonna make anything any easier if you come in, with a frown on your face every day, and you kind of turn your brain off to any sort of happiness and finding good in what some of the good in what we did, because there is a lot of good of it in it. If you look at a lot of these games that we're losing, it's just kind of coming down to the execution in some of these critical moments. And if we just would have found a way to pull it off, it'd be a completely different feeling around the building. So I think we just got to focus on that as much as possible to keep ourselves in it, keep our minds in it. And it's not healthy to run around here, like I said, with a frown on all day just because we're losing. The fact of the matter is we are very close to where we want to be. We're just not quite playing 60 minutes, and I think that's what's contributing to it. But the more we can kind of keep our heads up and keep our minds right, that'll give us the best chance to at least try to finish the right way.
Davante, talking to some guys, it seems like there is a sentiment of, hey, let's just chill and play football.
Yeah.
Do you kind of buy into that as well? Like, we're here for a reason. You're NFL players. That just relax, play the game that you know that you can play.
Yeah, I mean, that's been the message that we've been trying to communicate from the beginning, and I think it's easier said than done for some guys. Obviously it's a young team with not as much experience in certain areas, so it's easy to tell a guy, just relax and play football. You've been doing it your whole life, but when the bright lights are on and the situation is, it's not practice. There's 70,000 people in the stands. It's a little bit tougher to just kind of simplify, and that's what we got to get to.
Davante, when the team owner comes out, basically gives the coach, amidst the swirl of speculation, a vote of confidence, says, no, this is the guy. Does that let you guys in the locker room just kind of like exhale as well and say, you know what, let's just play, because there's no change coming anytime soon?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure for some guys, my mind has always been like that, and I've always had I don't know if the feeling is the right word, but at least hoping that be the case and that they be patient with the whole process. I mean, you look at the history of this place. I mean, I don't think a playoff game has been won in over 20 years here, and there's no magic coach that's going to come in and change that. And I think that Josh is doing a great job, and he does deserve that in my mind. I think that we can all be better in certain instances, but some of the greatest coaches that this league has seen has had some tough times, and I'm sure they didn't all come out the blocks sprinting, like Usain Bolt, starting their career off or starting with a new organization. So I think it's a good move by him doing that. It's good for Josh, it's good for the rest of the guys too.
To that note, Josh mentioned the fact that he wants, and it's still something that's going to be a long-term, repeatable success here. What are some things you can point to that kind of are the building blocks to that?
Well, I mean, honestly, you talking about from Josh in particular?
Yeah, just in terms of what he's implemented, like that.
Well, I mean, just the discipline part of it. You look at, there's measurable things, right? Like, I'm pretty sure that I don't know where the numbers lie, but this team definitely wasn't, at the top of the league in ball security and taking care of the ball, and that's something that he emphasized and has kind of harped on, and since the moment he walked through the building, it's something that he wanted to, help Josh with, his ball security, just the way he holds the ball and different things like that. Talking to me about it and really everybody. It's been something that's been, like I said, harped on since day one. So, and you look at it now, and we're the best team in the league at taking care of the ball. So, obviously, when you look at some of the things that are measurable like that, it's pretty easy to see. And when you go from being one of the worst at something to the best at something, and you have all the same players, for the most part, that means that somebody's doing their job as far as pointing something out or making it known and at least bringing awareness to the fact that something can be better, can be done better.
We heard from a couple guys of what it's like as a teammate to watch Derek after the game. the passion that he had, just as a friend who's known him for a long time. What was that kind of experience like, seeing the pain kind of in his voice? And I know you've had it as well after some games, just watching that. How was that?
I mean, you feel them. You feel that because we get tired of getting up here every week and basically saying the same thing, especially when it's game after game like this. It gets exhausting, and you see the type of things that we, like he said, put our bodies through and the things we do to be able to come in here to, we essentially get in a car accident, multiple car accidents, every week, and most people get off of work for that. We don't get that luxury, Not that this isn't an incredible luxury to play this game, but I mean, some of the stuff that we gotta go through, on a week in and week out basis. Obviously, we do our best to block out the outside noise, but just with everything that kind of comes with it, you hope to be rewarded, or reward yourself, should I say, with a few more wins and come out of the thing, because wins take care of so much, and we know that. And obviously, you can look at the tape and you can win games and play not so great too. You got to be real with yourself. But at the end of the day, if you're winning games, it helps a lot. So it begins to get a little bit much, mentally when this kind of happens a lot. And whether it's guys aren't bought in or guys are bought in, and we just can't figure it out. At the end of the day, it gets to be a lot. So I feel them.
Tay, as a team captain, how hard is it to motivate some of these players who may not be buying in?
You said how hard is it? I mean, it shouldn't be that hard. I think that it should be pretty easy, especially when I'd rather learn from somebody that's been there and experienced that rather than going through it myself, guys. So, it's a lot of guys in the locker room that have experienced their own ups and downs, on a personal level in their career. And, with this team, even, Derek being here as long as what he has, some of the things he's seen, trying to let young guys know I've seen this from certain players and it didn't work and they're no longer here, and or it's something as simple as just trying to perfect your craft or something like that. So we're trying our best as leaders to do that, and it's a process, definitely, because grown men, it's not as easy. If you got a high school team, it's a little bit easier to get guys to buy in, but when people have done something a certain way for a certain time or whatever the case is, it's not always easy. So the quicker we get that, the better off we'll be. Obviously, we'll be on the same page, and everybody will have the same goal, and that's what we're after.
In some sense, did you wear that Team USA sweatshirt and sort of sense of motivation? Like, was it a conscious decision that you have to dominate?
Yeah, that's why I did it. yeah. Nope, I guess I didn't even realize, but yeah, that's what it was. I like that.
You guys live in the dream team then.
Yes, we're trying to, man. No, I'm just a Jordan athlete. New hoodie I got in the mail, so I just threw it on.
Davante, I know you say you look internally, kind of as a player when things don't translate to game day. But what can a coaching staff do to kind of supplement that, make sure that what you guys are doing throughout the week carries over to Sunday?
Well, there's a lot that they can do, and I think most coaching staffs do. Well, I wouldn't say most, but I would say all the coaching staffs that I've had have done enough to put the players in position to go out there and get it done. And, like I said, I just don't like making excuses, and the easy thing to do is blame it on a call or whatever. At the end of the day, there's nothing that a call could have done. Obviously, part of it is a guessing game too, because as a coach, you're calling a play for the situation. It's 3rd and 2. What do teams run against you against 3rd and 2 a lot? And you just hoping that you get the call. That goes with the corresponding play that you have called. So it's not always that easy. So they're doing their best job they're not calling a play, that they think that the defense is going to stop us on. So at the end of the day, they're calling the best play that they think is going to work, and then we got to go out there and execute it. So, everybody's got a responsibility, but I'd much rather put the burden on myself, because I can control that. I can't control what the coach is doing or, another player is doing. If everybody puts that burden on themselves and, it means enough to them to do that, then I feel like that's when you have, a really successful team.
You guys all set? All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tay.